Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of Motion Picture Association and the Federation of Indian Chamber of Commerce and Industry, it is a privilege to welcome you to today's summit, rewarding our creative future in the age of AI, strengthening India's creative economy through innovation, trust, and talent. An official satellite event of the AI Impact Summit 2026 here in Le Méridien Hotel, New Delhi, India. We are delighted to have with us today an exceptional gathering of policymakers, industry leaders, creators, filmmakers, technologists, and storytellers who together represent the future of India's creative and digital economy. Before we begin, may I request everyone to kindly take their seats and ensure mobile phones are on silent, please. To also share, we will be having photography and videography during the proceedings today. We are deeply honored by the presence of our distinguished dignitaries joining us today, whose leadership and vision reflect the importance of this dialogue for India and the global creative ecosystem. Ladies and gentlemen, in 2024, India's booming film, television, and streaming industry generated $61 billion in total economic contribution and supported over 2.6 million jobs nationwide. Motion Picture Association, in collaboration with Deloitte, unveiled a report at the World Audiovisual Entertainment Summit in Mumbai last year. Let's take a look at this video at the start of the summit this afternoon. And now to formally commence the program, we are grateful to have join us Mr. Rajiv Agrawal, Chair of the FICCI IPR Committee and the Senior Vice President, Samsung India Electronics Limited, to welcome the address today.
Honorable Minister, Shri Ashwini Vaishnav ji, Mr. Charles Rivkin, esteemed guests, visionary creators, technologists, and the dreamers of tomorrow. Namaste. In our ancient civilization, we have always believed that creativity is not just a human gift. It is Ma Saraswati herself flowing through us. Today, as artificial intelligence begins to write poetry, compose music, paint canvases besides us, we are not witnessing the end of human imagination. We are witnessing its next magnificent chapter. This evening, at this official satellite event of the AI Impact Summit 2026, on the theme, Rewarding Our Creative Future in the Age of AI, we come together not to choose between man and machine, but to ask deeper, more Indian questions. How do we ensure that the new tools of our time become allies in expanding, rather than replacing the extraordinary soul of human creativity that has given the world the Vedas, the Rags, Bharatnatyam, the timeless stories of the Mahabharata? How do we build an ecosystem where every Indian creator, working with a brush, a pen, a sarod, or a prompt, is fairly seen, fairly rewarded, and fiercely free to keep dreaming. AI is no longer a vague futuristic concept, but a compelling and tangible force, reshaping economies, industries, and societies. Few sectors illustrate this transformation more closely than the creative economy. India's creative industries have long been the greatest ambassadors of our soft power. Equally so, they're central to our country's economic success. Today, they represent a strategic growth engine spanning film, television, streaming, music, gaming, publishing, AVGC or the augmented reality, digital content. They introduce the best of India to the world, help shape the global discourse, and generate jobs and economic value. We saw the recent MPA Deloitte study. India's film, television, online content sector has generated over $61 billion in terms of impact, supporting over 2.6 million jobs in the country. These are not mere numbers. They represent real livelihoods, startups, skills, exports, and creative talent. And at the heart of this ecosystem lies intellectual property, IP that enables investment, supports trade, transforms ideas into durable economic assets. I would say that IP is the infrastructure that allows creativity to scale, travel, and endure. Today, even as AI is reshaping creative capabilities, its transformative potential must be matched by a responsible deployment, anchored in strong IP protections and effective anti-piracy safeguards. After all, innovation and IP protection are not opposing forces. They are mutually reinforcing. Rapid technological adoption requires a responsive and predictable regulatory regime that boosts investor confidence. It's therefore especially meaningful that today's fireside conversation brings together leadership from the government and the global creative industry. We're deeply honored to have with us Honorable Shri Ashwini Vaishnavji, the Minister for Railways, INB, and MeitY from the Government of India. Shri Vaishnavji brings a rare blend of technological expertise, financial acumen, and public service. He has been at the heart of the transformation being witnessed in multiple sectors of the Indian economy: semiconductors, chips, railways, media. I'm sure everyone out here would have heard him outlining India's AI vision at Davos recently. We're equally privileged to welcome Mr. Charles H. Rivkin, the Chairman and CEO of the Motion Pictures Association. He leads the MPA, the principal advocate for the global film, television, and streaming industry, with members including Disney, Netflix, Paramount, Prime Video and Amazon, MGM Studios, Sony, Universal, Warner Brothers Discovery. The list is very long. Drawing on 3 decades of experience as a media executive and a senior US diplomat, he champions policies that drive investment, protect creative content, and open global markets. He also serves as the chairman of the Alliance for Creativity and Entertainment, the world's largest content protection coalition combating digital piracy. The AI summit that has gotten underway today in Delhi is a fitting moment to ensure that the impact of AI on creativity is not accidental, but intentional, not extractive, but empowering, not short-term, but sustainable. With that, it is my honor to invite the Honorable Minister, Shri Ashwini Vaishnavji, and Mr. Charles Rivkin to the stage for the fireside chat on merging cultural heritage with frontier technology. Thank you.
Tone and context for today's discussion and highlighting the importance of this collaboration between industry, policy, and creators. Thank you. We are indeed privileged to have such august fireside esteemed speakers with us today. First, as a token of gratitude to our esteemed presence, we would like to present you, sirs, with a green certificate. This green certificate is in recognition to the 11 trees which are being planted in your name. To present the green certificate, may I request Shri Rajiv Agarwal ji to do the honors, please. A round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. A very warm welcome, sirs. Thank you. And now we begin our very special fireside conversation titled Merging Cultural Heritage with Frontier Technology. This dialogue symbolizes the very spirit of today's gathering, the coming together of storytelling traditions and the emerging technologies. Over to you, sirs.
Thank you very much. My mic is working for the crowd. Mr. Vaishnav, what a thrill to have a chance to see you again. I'm glad we had a few moments to catch up. I really enjoyed our conversation last May at Waves, and it's great to have a chance to continue the conversation today on such an important topic and to launch, the creative economy track of the AI Impact Summit, which is incredibly important. Bollywood and Hollywood mean so much to our respective countries, to our respective cultures, and to what binds our nations together. So they deserve a place in this conversation, and thank you. It's an extraordinary gathering that you've put together of world leaders and political leaders, policymakers, and they're here to address key challenges such as, what are the promises and perils of AI in our time? How can we maximize the positive impacts of AI and this transformative technology for both our economies and our societies? And how can our industry and the US and India writ large deepen our leadership at the intersection of creativity, technology, and culture? The creative industries, particularly the Motion Picture Association studios, sit at the convergence of entertainment, culture, and technology. And it's our job with India and other partners worldwide to seek ways to deploy AI responsibly, like we've done with every other technological innovation that's come our way in the 115-year existence of Hollywood. And AI there's enormous benefits, and we're going to all hear about some of them in the panel that will take place after our presentation. But in stronger filmmaking, in better storytelling, driven by humans, human-centric storytelling, higher quality content, and in a growing and ever-expanding market that AI is going to enable. Mr. Minister, since I saw you last May, you've spoken at a number of global forums, including Davos, where you gave a fantastic speech about your vision for India's role and making it clear that India's talent, innovation, spirit, and expanding AI adoption places it among the leading nations in the world in the first tier of what's happening in artificial intelligence. And the ministries that you run are situated in a way that lets you take the reins of this effort and work with partners from the United States and elsewhere and find the right solutions. In the introduction, you heard about the MPA's member studios. For those of you that don't know what the Motion Picture Association does, but they're not only the world's largest entertainment companies, they're also huge technology companies at the same time. There is increasingly little difference between technology and entertainment. They are now one. And they're making massive investments, as you know, Mr. Minister, in the Indian film, TV, and streaming sectors. But this creative economy track of the AI Summit is the perfect way to support the pillars of the overall AI Impact Summit, which is trusted AI, AI for economic and social good, and human capital. So in my industry, we're already investigating ways to take advantage of that. We do things in production you're going to hear about in a moment of color correction, de-aging, visual effects, post-production. It's making our business more efficient. It's making the experiences more real, and there's so much more to come if we can navigate this correctly. The common thread of our work at the MPA and in your government is the firm belief that AI is here. It's not going away. And it's not something to fear. It's not something to fear at all, and I'd love to talk about that. But it's an opportunity for growth, especially when it's used to enhance and not replace human storytelling. So AI and copyright are not in conflict, as was mentioned earlier. They're not in conflict, in spite of what you may hear from others. AI, should coexist with a strong copyright system that protects content, creators' rights, just as copyright has been protected throughout history in spite of every single other technological innovation. Copyright has been the engine of both India's vibrant media sector, Bollywood and Hollywood, and it protects works that embody our culture, our values, our history, and it's one of the many things, as I mentioned earlier, that bind us together. So with all of that, Minister Vaishnav, let me give the floor to you and start off with a big question, since we're at the beginning of this historic week. Tell us about your vision for what's going to happen over the next week, and tell us your vision for the AI, for the creative track that we have right now for the next couple of days. We'd love to hear that.
Thank you, Mr. Rifkin, and welcome to the AI Summit. Welcome to India. We met last during the Waves Summit in Mumbai, and that was a very exciting conversation. Thank you so much for all the support that you are giving for our creators' economy. It's an economy which is rapidly growing, and it's an economy which is also rapidly adapting to the new technologies, the new ways of working which are rapidly emerging in the world today. We as a country are very openly adapting new technologies. We have a very large digitally skilled population. We have one digital highway. Basically, our 5G covers practically 90% of the entire country. So our people are, in a sense, digitally native. So that's why adapting to new technologies is like fish taking to water. And we from the government are making all the efforts to facilitate reskilling, upskilling, and new skilling. So in all the three ways, our existing workforce should be reskilled, our people should get upskilled, and a new talent pipeline should get created. That's the thought process with which we are working. In the AI Summit, creative track is one of the tracks. There are multiple tracks. There is industrial track, there is citizen-centric track, there are things about AI safety, there is cyber track, cyber security track. There are multiple things on which we are working. And in these next few days of the AI Summit, when the world's entire AI leadership is collected here in India, and they discuss all the pertinent questions which are there, look at the opportunities, look at the challenges, we intend to come out with the basic theme is impact. The first summit was based on safety, second one was, after Seoul, then Paris, and now we are basically measuring and looking at what the impact on human society is going to be. There are many items which have very positive impact. For example, in agriculture, in weather forecasting, in climate change, in discovery of new materials, in productivity of our people. Everywhere there are so many positive things. Simultaneously, there is a negative impact also, potentially negative impact also. How do we balance the two so that we can get the good, the benefits while we can contain the harms? That's what we intend to cover in the next few days, Mr. Rifkin. And hopefully, given the kind of leadership which is attending this summit, we will come out with a good outcome out of this summit.
Well, it's hard to imagine a more important summit in our time, so that's fantastic. And let me just say that the theme, as you mentioned, is impact, and the adoption of AI is certainly having an impact on the film and television industry. Sometimes excitedly, sometimes uneasily, oftentimes unpredictably, because that's the nature of the beast. But we think a lot about how it impacts casts and crews and copyright. So what's your take? How do you see the interaction of AI tools and the creative economy? And in particular, Mr. Minister, we were speaking a minute ago about talent and about jobs. I think it'd be fascinating for you to talk a little bit about that.
Yep. We as a country believe in IP rights. We as a country believe in the creators, the value that the creators have brought in, either through their content or through their different ways of expressing themselves, different ways of telling the story. In fact, that is one of the reasons our country hosts a large number of global capability centers, which are basically serving a very large number of global corporations. That's primarily because we respect IP as a country. Given that, the challenges between AI and copyright are very, very complex, and we are in this summit looking at some sort of consensus on this, because if the creators get a chance to deploy their skills, protect their copyrights, protect the fruits of their creative energy, then the growth between today and tomorrow will be very high. Then AI can be used as a tool. AI doesn't become a competitor to human creativity. And we believe that human creativity is the most important thing that we have in our entire civilization. So we must protect it. We must make sure that any system which protects human creativity and enhances it is a better system. There shouldn't be a dilutive effect. There should be more of a complementing effect on the human creativity. On the job creation and on the entire talent pipeline, as you know, during WAVES, we announced the creation of Indian Institute of Creative Technologies, IICT. Immediately after the WAVES summit, we inaugurated the first campus within a couple of months itself, we inaugurated the first campus. And the feedback that I'm getting from many of the industry participants is, it has today some of the most advanced laboratories in the entire world. Three labs which are there in the IICT campus. Probably many of the developed countries would be looking at that as a benchmark, is what the industry says. I'm not saying that. It's what the industry says. So this is good. This is good progress, but this is just a beginning. This is just a beginning. The main campus construction has started already. And simultaneously in this budget, we have also announced content creators labs in 15,000 schools and colleges. So that's going to be spread out throughout the country. We have a hugely creative diversity in our country. People in so many different languages, when they tell their stories, the rich culture emerges out of that in its own vibrant way. So throughout the country, we'll be opening these content creators labs. We, of course, have partnerships with the entire industry. And like what we did in semiconductors, where we have world's best tools are now available to the students in 315 universities. And like what we did in telecom, where 100 universities have world's best 5G labs. So similar stuff we are going to do here, where the students will get access to world's best tools, so that this entire pipeline keeps getting updated, keeps getting broader, the talent pipeline, and the people who are already working in the industry, they get an opportunity to upskill themselves.
What a fantastic idea. And I know we're working with you for some immersion exchanges in the United States as well, but you're preparing for the future with that, and I think it's incredible. Back to what you said about human storytelling. You know, stories are what define us, and stories are what endures. And right now, our smartest creators can be even better at telling stories using this tool. But it could never replace them, because the heart and soul of these stories comes from a human, and I think that's going to be that way for quite a while. Look, in terms of copyright protection, it's the backbone of the creative economy. Some might even say it's the currency of the creative economy, and it fuels innovation. You know, it builds trust. It makes investors comfortable about putting money behind a production because they know that the copyright is secure. So it also helps, you know, what we do, which is to carry over our culture, our values, our entire history in copyright. So as I said before, it's not really, and I mentioned earlier in our conversation, it's not the framework of technology versus media or technology versus the creative economy is the wrong framework. The real question is how we encourage the responsible use of AI together. So my question is, how are your ministries thinking about guiding this responsible use, which is so important? How to support creativity, but at the same time, protect innovation and entrepreneurship? What do you think?
Absolutely right. It's a very, very complex matter because the way the foundational models are trained, they are trained using the knowledge which is there in the public sphere and the knowledge which is there in the books and periodicals and journals and films and videos and every source of content. Now, is that model the right way of rewarding the creators? Are there more improvements to be done? Are there the right guardrails to be created so that the balance between IP and innovation, that right balance comes? Would a simple regulation do that? Probably no. That will require a lot of consensus building. That will also require a lot of technological tools to be created. Our understanding so far is that for such complex problems, we have to have techno-legal solutions. Solutions which look at laws, while they simultaneously, they also look at technical guardrails and technical balancing features in the AI models as well as in the way AI is deployed. So that's the way we look at it, and we are very closely engaged with the industry to find out the right technical and legal structures for this. And this is something which will have to be taken up at a global level. This will require a consensus building across different countries.
I couldn't agree more. And your point about rights, when rights are unclear, then risk tolerance is low. It just makes sense. So hopefully we'll continue in that direction, even with this technology advancing as rapidly as it is. To change the topic, in a world that we're all facing right now of honestly persistent misinformation, disinformation, deepfakes, how can government work with industry to solve this dangerous problem that not only impacts creativity, which is obviously what we're here to talk about, but it impacts public safety, it impacts national security. How do you think we can provide guardrails here?
This is extremely important point. Misinformation, disinformation, deepfakes, they are attacking the foundation of our society. Foundation of our society is the trust between institutions. The trust between the institutions which society has created over centuries. These are the trusts, these are the institutions of family, institutions of different social identities, institutions of governance. These are the institutions which hold the society together. And the rapid spread of deepfakes, misinformation, disinformation is basically striking at the root of these institutions, the root of trust between these institutions. And I think the social media platforms, the AI models, the creators, all of us will have to take the responsibility for making sure that the new technology is strengthening the trust rather than belittling it, rather than reducing it, rather than creating that breakup between different institutions without creating the alternative. And there again, there will have to be a technical and legal solution which has to be there. I have interacted with the ministers from more than 20 countries on this, and including some of the most liberal countries. And practically every one of them believes that time has come when in a totally new way, the construct of freedom of speech has to be with responsibility on the person who's speaking.
So of the many people impacted by that, you mentioned the institution of family. And I wanted to raise a subpoint, an important one, which is children. The consideration to ensure that children and other groups are protected from AI-generated content. I mean, children around the world are a young girl could be, without a permission, placed in an adult movie. Individuals could all of a sudden find themselves starring in movies without getting paid for it and doing things they wouldn't necessarily do in normal life. But about children, how do we protect kids and families? What do you think?
This should be non-negotiable for the entire country.
Yeah.
This should be non-negotiable for the entire human society. And we believe that this will require very strict legal as well as technical measures.
Yeah, I agree, and that's wonderful, and I can agree completely. I just want to say in America, we are behind this piece of legislation called No Fakes, which is trying to address this issue while preserving our right to tell stories, but at the same time making sure those guardrails are in place. And all of our product has parental controls. Our product, the stuff made by our 7 studios, are curated content. You can't upload a new Netflix show on your own. It's Netflix that does it, and they're curated, and they're rated. And so what we do in America is we make sure that people understand what they're going to be seeing. Our movie rating system in the United States has R and PG and G, and it's been around for 62 years because parents, 92% of the parents trust that we're going to at least tell them what their kid might see if they go to this theater, so they're not completely surprised by it. And so the point I wanted to make is simply, there's a big difference between user-generated content, something that's uploaded and unregulated and uncontrolled, and curated content where we've already put a tremendous amount of thought into what's being seen. And I think that distinction needs to be remembered, certainly in our opinion. Yeah.
A quick point here. When you mention the OTT world, my request is, in the digital world, there are no physical boundaries. In that scenario, it's very easy for the OTT platforms to kind of forget the cultural context. Cultural context is very important. What is normal in one society may not be normal in another society.
Absolutely.
And that's where I think global platforms like yours, like Netflix, must make sure that the cultural context of the countries in which they are operating is fully, they should be aware of that cultural context, should modulate according to that cultural context, and work by the constitution and the legal framework of that country, rather than the framework of the parent country.
I think the reason that the creator of our ratings system, Jack Valenti, 65 years ago, only made it for the United States is it's hard enough in America to find consistent understanding. All of our states have different views as well. But I hear you loud and clear, and obviously our studios, the international market is the heart and soul of our business in many ways. And I think all of us are trying as hard as we can to be sensitive to those issues. But thank you for raising it. It was presented before, and you saw in the little film that came on before we started speaking, that at Waves last year when we saw each other, I talked about the 16.7 billion gross output supported by 2.6 million jobs here in India across, only last year alone. The 7% growth seems to still be in place. It could be 20 billion in a few years with another 300,000 or 400,000 jobs added. So how does AI adoption here in India, which is quite high, how does that help grow the industry and keep the momentum going?
The talent pipeline which is getting created because of the AI adoption, because of the training programs, because of the skilling and upskilling programs, that is definitely going to create more opportunities for the global media industry to come and create in India. Apart from the natural growth which is happening, from the government side, we are promoting this through, very soon we'll be launching a Create in India mission. Like the semiconductor mission, that Create in India mission will also be very industry-oriented, very employment-oriented, very future-oriented mission, which will basically look at, one, strengthening what we already have, two, making sure that we become the most preferred platform for the world for creating. 3, we create that future-ready talent pipeline, which keeps that growth that we need to have for the next 25 years.
Yeah, I appreciate that response. That's exactly right. As you move through this summit or on the other side, how do you see India's AI leadership intersecting with the creative economy going forward? What role does the government policy play in ensuring that this growth remains sustainable and with support for copyright? What are the next steps coming out of this, do you think?
So it's, in a sense, growing in parallel, simultaneously, and more as a complementary way of growth, where the technology piece and the creative piece are growing together in harmony, in synergy, because today's creative world needs technology, it uses technology, and technology has multiple applications where creators' economy is one of them. So we are, in a sense, there are so many companies here represented who are working both for the industrial world as well as for the creative world. So that's like pretty common in our country, where the same company would be working on the one hand for running an organization sitting here in India for the world, and on the other hand, having that entire creative pipeline and creative talent coming for processing all the work which is there in the creative economy. Yeah.
I get it. I know we're running out of time, and just one thing to say before we wrap up. I think about the history of the American entertainment industry, which the MPA is already 103 years old. Our industry is about 115, Bollywood similarly. People talk about fearing change and fearing the future. And I would like to contest that, because in our industry in America, people were worried when movies started talking. It was going to be the end of the movies, that was it. And then when they started talking, all of a sudden they jumped into color. That was it, only a couple companies can make color. No way, the industry's over, it's dead. Years later, the VHS is introduced. Industry's over. People are going to watch it at their house, that's done. Oh no, now the CDs and DVDs get introduced with perfect digital quality, even more so. It's over. No one's going to ever do it again. And all of a sudden, the internet comes. Now it's really over. There's no possible way with the internet that we're going to want to enjoy entertainment the way we always have. But Mr. Minister, what's happened at every single step is we've gotten stronger, we've gotten better. We've used the technology to improve what we do. We've taken advantage of this, we've embraced it. Technology makes us stronger. And I have no doubt that with the right controls in place and the right regards for safety and copyright and other things that protect the core of our industry, we're just beginning the golden age of entertainment. We really are. If we do it right, this could be extraordinarily important. So, Mr. Minister, I just wanted to thank you for your insights and give you a chance to wrap up. It's clear that India has a unique opportunity to lead, not just in building AI technologies, but in shaping how AI is applied going forward, and especially with the creative industries that reflect our culture, our values, and our humanity. And so we look forward to working with you and to the Indian government to ensure that as AI evolves, creativity, trust, and opportunity grow alongside of it. That's our hope.
Thank you, Mr. Rivkin. You have absolutely summed it up very right. It's diffusion which is going to really make a very big difference. The use cases, the applications, the way AI will bring the productivity, that is where the real ROI will come from. And that is where the big changes, the big improvements in productivity will come from. We do believe that we will be, we are very focused on AI diffusion. We are very focused on AI adoption. We are very focused on making sure that the productivity gains come, both in the creative industry as well as the other industries. Thank you so much for all the cooperation that is coming from you. And we look forward to many more areas of cooperation where we can create those win-win equations where it's beneficial for both. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Oh.
Thank you so much, Honorable Minister and Mr. Rivkin, for this insightful and thought-provoking conversation. Your perspectives have indeed highlighted both